All right. Hello, sparkling souls. I am so glad to have you all with me here today. This is a project that I have had in my mind for a while now. And, sometimes I feel like we get divine inspiration, but if we're not allowing ourselves the downtime for the inspiration to integrate and then the downtime for that idea to be built and birthed into the world, I think that we can actually harm ourselves by not giving ourselves the space to create these ideas and things that are given to us. So I'm very grateful that today I'm done working for the day, and I've had my walk, I've had my dinner, and the inspiration nudge hit me again, and I thought, I'm gonna go for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the video, and we will just chat about what's happening. This is something I've wanted to do for a while. I see a lot of other artists who show their work while they're painting, and they're teaching artists how to paint. And my intention is not to teach you how to paint, rather to teach you how to life. So that's sort of the intention behind this, and I hope you'll enjoy it and maybe get some fun out of it. And so here we go. So I hear artists a lot talk about how the hardest part for a lot of people is starting, is just making the first marks on the canvas. And I think that's true for a lot of us in life and in business. We have, as I was just saying, we have, an inspiring idea, and then we get paralyzed with fear, and so we never get anywhere with it, or we're too afraid to even begin. And so the principle that I'm using here in my painting is just getting down a messy first layer. So my former writing coach would talk about, just get out a shitty first draft, just get it out, because the hardest part is just beginning. And so that's kind of my approach to a blank canvas. It's just go for it. I almost never have the end product in mind. It's always just, let's throw some paint here, let's, make some drips here, and let's just get it out. Because truthfully, the bottom layer, it generally ends up being covered up or changed anyway. It's just a matter of creating that first layer, that first textures, so that we can layer on and create more depth later on. So I like to think about this, in my business. I feel like the first anything course you put out there, or the first time you do a podcast episode or whatever, you're just kind of laying the groundwork. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to have an end outcome. I think we overthink things to the point of driving ourselves crazy. And sometimes, the best thing we can do is just start, put out a messy first attempt, and then either build from it and create something even more beautiful, or, hey, throw it out. There's no stress in throwing something out if it's not working, or covering it up, or starting something new. And I think that's one of the beautiful lessons that I've learned from doing the art that I do. And it's interesting because I've never painted on this type of surface before. This is an unstretched piece of canvas, just cloth, that I found at an art store, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I think I'll just try it. I didn't research. I didn't know. There's probably tips on how to use it, but I didn't. I just went for it. And that's sort of, again, my philosophy for life and business is, just when there's a curiosity there, go for it, because you never know what's going to come out of that curiosity. Sometimes that might be a brilliant idea that changes your trajectory, and other times it might have just been a cool experiment. But you can't go wrong when you're following your fun, following your joy, following your curiosity, because at the very least you had a fun experiment, right? So there I was just making scribble marks with an oil pastel crayon. And I think I like to get in there and just really mess things up. Like, let's just get really messy because it takes the sort of the shock away, right? Like we have before we begin, we have all this fear about, messing it up or, making a mistake. And the best thing you can do is just jump in and get both feet wet. And yeah, it's going to be a shocker, but hey, let's try it out and see what happens. So at times, this isn't what I'm doing here, but at times I step back from the canvas, sometimes just for a few moments, and other times I might take a break for days or weeks or even months on end. And I try to tell myself to do this in business as well because I think that we can get really hyper focused on something to where we're trying to fix it, and what I'm learning, still learning through the years, is that hyper focus, that grasping, is not where the inspiration comes from. That's not where the solution comes from. It's actually just your ego. And so the practice of art helps me let go of my ego. So this intuitive art, there is no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. There's no intended outcome. The practice is following your intuition, following your heart. And I believe that's a principle that we can all lean into more in business and in life. Just following your intuition, not stressing so much about the outcome, and hyper focusing on, like, for instance, I'll just use myself as an example. Right now I'm trying to restructure my online course, and I've got notes going, I've had some ideas flowing, I've asked my current students for feedback, I've got a couple of experts who've weighed in on it, and I just, right before my lunch break, I thought, I'm forcing this. I am too close in on the details and it's not working. And it's important to recognize when we're trying to force something in our life or in our business. And when it's even more important to realize, okay, this isn't working, and let go, take a step back, and just allow, because and when I do let go of whatever I'm hyper focused on, so like my course, for example, I let go, and then I told myself, okay, you're not allowed to look at it again for the rest of the day. Maybe not even the rest of the week, but definitely not for the rest of the day, because you're hyper focusing, you're stressing, and you're pushing, and that's not how we achieve success. So I let go, and then on my walk, I love my daily walks. They give me so much joy. I told myself, I said, I've already got clarity around this. I've already got clarity around my course. God has already given me clarity. I know the exact next steps. Everything is crystal clear. There's nothing more I need to do. And just shifting into that vibration alone, I have found, allows the clarity to come a lot of times it does come instantly when I just say, oh, I already know. Because it's your words, right? When we're saying, I don't know, then you're reinforcing that belief in your reality. So I like to say, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm clear as a bell. The clarity is here. But then say that and then let go. Let go. And so I wrote on this canvas, let's feel good, which I love because that is the point, I think, of life, to follow your joy and enjoy yourself. If you're not enjoying yourself, then you're you're doing something wrong. And so even in art and business, it's a oh my goodness, I'm stuttering. It's a fine line to walk between utter joy and then wanting something more than joy out of it, right? So then we want to make it a business and we want to make money and excuse me, and then we begin to focus on that rather than the joy. And that's when we once again circle back to take a break, step back. Um, let divine lead the way. No forcing, no forcing. This is my classic painting shirt that I'm wearing. As you can tell, I'm a very messy painter. I tend to ruin a lot of clothes, so I try to wear certain outfits when I'm going to be painting, but I don't always actually take the time to change and end up ruining more clothes. But I love this. This is a shirt I tie-dyed myself a few years back, and it's made a perfect painting shirt. So I wanted to, when I watch other artists paint, I get frustrated because I guess on like Instagram lives and things, people are asking, "Oh, well, what's your color palette and what size brush are you using and you know what kind of paint is that?" Like it's almost like the artist can't even get their point across because everyone's so hyper focused on, well, how do I do exactly what you're doing? And they want to know all the answers to the details. And it frustrates me because that demonstrates our belief that, we have to do things correctly. And in fact, the word correctly is a fallacy. There is no right way to do anything. There's no right way to run your business. It's up to you. There's no right way to enjoy your life. I mean, you are the artist and you can use whatever color you want and whatever tools you have. You don't need to go spend $10,000 on a fancy piece of equipment, a fancy paintbrush. Use what you have. And I'm a big advocate for thrifty art. I buy a lot of my brushes and things like that, even some paint and stuff from the Dollar Tree. So that, and then of course there's certain brands of paint that I do spend more on because I have found that they bring me more joy. I'm just laughing. I was sprinkling water on the paintings below me. So I always keep like in a huge painting like this, I keep blank canvases and blank pieces of paper below because you can tell all of those drips have to go somewhere. And there's usually a towel catching the water, but I also use those drips to create the beginning markings on other projects. So I always think that's fun because just like in course creation or book creation or anything like that, one project, the leftovers from one project can easily lead to the beginnings of a next project. So this is a foam brush I'm using. A great example of a tool that I bought for $1. And you can see I'm just continuing. My approach is just whatever feels good. Ooh, blue feels good. Okay. What about let's add in some black. Let's add in some purple. And I like the way it feels when I press my brush like this and make a line. So I'm going to make some of those. I'm not thinking at all here, guys. It's just solidly feeling into my body and just trusting what feels good. Flora Bowley is an intuitive artist I've taken a lot of courses from and followed for many years. And she always calls it looking for your color cravings. So what color are you craving? And she encourages her students to stop and ask that. And I feel like I've internally asked it. I don't actually stop anymore. It just naturally, I gravitate towards this color feels good, this color feels good, and I don't think too much about it. And I think I feel like I'm advocating for not thinking, but truly I am advocating for feeling into your body more when you're making life decisions and business decisions. Actually, just today even, I was approached with an opportunity to work with an expert. And logically it made sense, but I felt my body just wasn't excited about it, you know? And so I just had to set that down. Another example, I'm looking right now, I'm coming up at the ending sessions with two of my current clients, and I'm wondering, what's the next offer I have for them? And throwing paint on the wall, that's the end of a bottle. And I'm wanting to know what's my continuation offer, basically. Do I offer them more sessions? And I felt into it, and one of them I felt into my body, and I thought, yes, I would love to work with her 6 more sessions. I think she needs it. I think it would be fun. And then the other one, I thought, I could work with her 6 more sessions, but I don't feel excited about that. So I didn't make the offer to the second girl. But again, just feeling into it. We overthink way too much. A friend of mine, very good friend of mine, actually, the other day, she made a comment about, maybe not preparing for a live video is a chance to go with the flow. She was talking about for me. And I just laughed because I said, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever prepared for a live video in my life. I always just get a hit of inspiration and go for it. Because for me, I find when I do begin to prepare and overthink things, I quickly lose the excitement. Okay, and so just when you think you have things figured out in life, don't they go and change? Doesn't life go and change them on you? So I'm creating more messiness by wrapping the canvas on itself, and then I'm going to create intentional chaos by flipping the canvas. And I do that to, again, stay out of my head, stay into my feeling, and to not get too attached to any outcome. Like, even at this point, I could already feel myself attaching to the canvas being positioned in that way. And, I had a couple words, and I was going to probably start going down a path of forcing the outcome, and which is why I rotated the canvas. And I have this theory that if we don't rotate the canvas, life will. Life will rotate it for you. Because I think life's meant to be an adventure. I really, truly believe that. And we can either make it our own adventure and enjoy it and roll with the punches, so to speak, or we can freak out and go crazy and cry because someone turned our canvas upside down and we didn't want it that way. I'm curious if you are thinking, or maybe you can think of a time in your life, something in your life right now, where you're grasping too tightly and you need to either rotate the canvas or make some messy marks, or maybe step away and work on a different project for a while. I'd be curious to know what's coming up for you as you're listening. There is a puddle of water at my feet at this point. And This is a rented house, so I'm really hoping that towel caught it all. I have drop cloths everywhere, but such is messy life, right? And this is just a spray bottle with paint and water in it. I love my spray bottles. Oh, it just gives me so much joy to squeeze a trigger and have color come out. Oh, that's another fun tool I got at the Dollar Tree for $1. I have a million of those. And I'm not thinking again, this is why I'm moving so fast. I'm just, ooh, the color blue. Ooh, that should go here and here and here and here. It's just whatever feels good. There's no thinking going on, which is why this is so relaxing for me. And to that point, I would ask you, what do you do to relax? Gosh, I've had this conversation with so many women lately that it's really hard for us to actually relax. Because relaxing actually a lot of times involves being productive, doing laundry or watching the kids or catching up on your podcast, which isn't actually relaxing. None of that is relaxing. It's actually your sneaky ego still telling you need to be productive. And truthfully, painting can be that way for me. Sometimes I get to where I'm forcing myself to paint because I need to put in the hours to be productive, and in which case I don't. I step away. So I'd be curious to know, what exactly do you do when you need to relax? Totally just enjoy yourself. What do you do for fun? This is a tricky one. There's no method to my madness. I squirt paint straight out of the tubes a lot of times. I rarely use a palette. Because I think it's fun. It feels good. But guys, I tell you this because we get so focused on what the experts are saying or what your friend's doing and what Shelly's doing, and let's just, what feels good to you? What is the best feeling thing you can do right now? What's the next step that feels the best? And just do that. And use what you got, Use whatever's lying around. And I'm talking about, obviously, life and business. When you get caught up in a corner and you're stressing and you're looking around, because I think the tendency is to look around and who has the answer for me? Who has it? And we almost grip in fear looking for the answer. And in truth, what would be best is not looking around, taking a deep breath, going inward, and asking yourself, what feels good? What feels like a good next step? And just going there. I just noticed my shirt's inside out. You can see the tag. I love getting messy. I use my hands a lot, as you can tell. And again, one of the reasons I use my hands, we can get very anal when we pick up a brush or a pen. This practice is to keep you loose, keep you in flow, keep you out of your mind and in your body. So I like to think another way of doing that is Angela Papa, for those of you who know her. She offers embodiment sessions, and that's literally a practice of dropping into your body, and it's very magical. I highly recommend it. One more spray. And I love pointing out that this is all just the first layer. Most of this probably, I don't know, you never know, but a lot of it will probably get covered up. And that's okay. I know I myself have a tendency in life to not do something unless I know I'm going to get a result from it. And the better way of thinking would be, I'm going to do this because it's fun and I don't care what the result is. So I always use the example of like salsa class or something like that. Like, I think we have these dreams and these things we really want to do, but I can't do that right now because I've got to make money. I've got to get my business off the ground before I can go have fun. And so we delay the things that would be fun because we're busy being, quote, responsible. And in reality, we're going to go further quicker if we put our fun first. Because by taking that salsa lesson, for example, you're loving yourself, you're taking care of yourself, you're staying in flow, you're trusting your intuition, you're just following what feels good. And in doing so, there's no telling how you'll be blessed. You might meet someone, you might bring that skill into your business, you might come up with a creative idea because you've been practicing being in your creative brain. That's me saying that's the end of layer 1. So I hope you all have enjoyed this, and hopefully you found it helpful. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And otherwise, we'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a great day.